In 1509, a famous sea battle took place in Chaul, near Bombay, when the Portuguese defeated Bahadur Shah of Gujarat and seized Chaul. 20 years later, they wrested Pessin, Salsette, and the 7 small islands of Bombay and called this territory the Province of the North. Religious orders followed the Portuguese army. Franciscans, Dominicans, Augustinians. The Jesuit presence was established much later when Francis Xavier landed in Bessin in 1549. He commissioned a church and a collegio in the fortified city dedicated to the holy name of Jesus. Soon, other Jesuit churches followed. St. Thomas, Sandor, in 1567. Our Lady of Grace, Papdy, in 1574. St. Michael, Manikpur, in 1605. From Bessin, the Jesuits moved southwards. First to the prosperous port city of Thana, where they established 2 churches. The Mother of God, Thana, in 1549. Our Lady of Mercy, Pokhran, in 1555. Holy Trinity Church, Powai, was built in 1557. In the village of Konduta, not far from where Vinayalaya now stands, was yet another Jesuit church dedicated to St. John the Evangelist, and built in 1579. In the 19th century, because of an epidemic, this church was abandoned, and a new church was built in Marol under the same name. Many of the statues in the present church come from an earlier time, especially the beautiful Nossa Senhora de Amparo, Our Lady of Health, venerated in Marol even today. The man who built many churches was a Jesuit brother, Manuel Gomez, the Apostle of Salsette. He spoke fluent Marathi and endeared himself to all. In 1573, 2 Jesuits moved to Bandra, for the society had received these villages as a gift from the King of Portugal. They settled in a hermitage on the top of a hill and built the shrine to Our Lady of the Mount. They ministered to the soldiers in the Aguada, which controlled the entrance to the Bandra Creek, and began their mission of evangelizing the people. Who were these Jesuit missionaries? Some of their names have come down to us. Francis Xavier, Melchior Barreto, Gonzalo Rodriguez, Manuel Gomez, John Diaz, Christopher Castro, Miguel Letao. Another famous Jesuit in Bessin, not a Portuguese, was Thomas Stevens, the first English Jesuit to come to India. He was rector at Holy Name Bessin for 2 years and put together his famous Christa Puran, the first poetic narrative on the life of Christ in an Indian language, Marathi. Stevens also wrote a catechism for young converts. What was the nature of missionary work with those early Jesuits? Emphasis was given to religious instruction. Jesuits also used plays, pageants, and the festivals of the saints to create impressive spectacles. Rites and devotions were given a marked Portuguese complexion. Together with religious education was an education in the arts and languages. Peasant children received training in practical and technical skills. For the inhabitants of Bessin and Salsette, the ability to read and write in a foreign Western language created a social revolution which outlived by far Portuguese rule in these parts. The new century, the 18th, opened with many important political changes. Portuguese power was in decline. The English had taken possession of the 7 islands of Bombay, confiscated the Jesuit properties in Parel, and expelled the fathers. But the biggest fear in the province of the north was the rise of the Marathas under Baji Rao I. The Peshwa was determined to defeat the Portuguese and conquer their territories. In 1738, the Marathas attacked Thana and occupied it. The way to Salsette was now open. At the same time, they laid siege to Bessin. The Jesuit College of St. Anne on Bandra Creek was well fortified with cannon, and an English regiment helped the Portuguese Jesuits. However, the invading Marathas warned the English to withdraw. The Portuguese were now entirely at the mercy of the invader. After all other options had failed, the Jesuits blew up the church and its fortifications to deprive the Marathas of a foothold. On March 24, 1739, the Church of St. Anne was utterly destroyed. The only relic of that great church, souvenir of another age, is the great stone cross in the churchyard of St. Andrews, Bandra. In May 1739, the Portuguese commander of Bessin surrendered to Chimajiappa, the brother of the Peshwa. All foreigners, priests and others, were banished to Goa. The Church of St. Andrew had escaped destruction. In 1749, the last Jesuit vicar of the church died, and 200 years of Jesuit mission came to a close.